Let's take a look at number 5 of your accent on achievement book. So the first thing that we begin with here is a treble clef, and then is the time signature. 4/4. That means there are 4 quarter notes in a measure. Maybe looking and thinking, I don't see any quarter notes. But it really means 4 beats in a measure. Every measure in this piece has 4 beats. How do we group our measures? By the measure lines, by the vertical measure lines. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 measures in this piece. There normally aren't 9 measures in this piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is a rarity. We normally have 8 measures in a piece. It can happen. And the double bar line means that the piece is over. So now we need to figure out what kinds of notes these are. Well, they just are holes. Just looks like a hole. We call it how we see it. It's called a whole note. And a whole note gets 4 beats. So you want to make sure when you're playing it that you're sustaining the sound for the full 4 beats. So let's practice air tonguing that together. A whole note followed by a whole rest. If a whole note gets 4 beats of sound, a whole rest gets 4 beats of silence. So let's say it together or air tongue it together. 1, 2, ready, go. Now the notes are in different locations on the staff, so that represents different pitches or different letters of our musical alphabet. So we need to figure out where they are. First, we check if the note is a line note or a space note. A line note is easily identifiable that the line goes right through the note. So this note here is a line note because the line goes right through it, and it's on line 1, 2, 3, 4. It is on the 4th line. We always start from the bottom. So how do we figure out what letter this is? We say to ourselves, every good boy does fine. And if you say that sentence, that should help you figure out the note. So let's say the sentence. Every good boy does fine. When my mouse got to this line, we were saying the word does. Does begins with D. I'll do it again. Every good boy does fine. So this is a D. Let's just see if we can find any other D's. So something you might want to do is either with your imagination or with your finger or with your pencil, just kind of trace a line across this 4th line and see if you run into any other notes. Well, we do, all the way at the very end. So we have a D in measure 1 and then all the way at measure 9. Next up is a whole rest. That's not a note. We don't have to figure it out. Next note, well, it's sitting in between the 2 lines. So any note that sits in between the 2 lines we call a space note. We use the word face to figure out the spaces. So if you know how to spell face, you can just use that going up to figure it out. F-A-C-E. Now there's a flat symbol next to this note, so that means it won't just be E, it's going to be E flat. All right, let's see if we can find any other E flats in our music. Nope. Aha, there's one. So we know that when we get to here, that's going to be an E flat as well. So we've identified this note, this note, this note, and this note. And we don't have to identify this or this or this or this because these are rests and we know how to rest, right? We do it every night. Ha, okay. So the only other note we have to figure out is this. It's on a line because the line goes right through it and it's on the top line. So let's say every good boy does fine, and that's an F. Let's just review our fingering. So for a D, place your fingers on the correct spots here. D is thumb, 2, 3. Now when I say 2, that means our middle finger. When I say 3, that means the ring finger. We don't count our thumb as a finger, unfortunately. I mean, it looks like one, right? So thumb, 2, 3. Well, what does that mean for 1? Still going to be pressed against the flute, but it's going to be shooting up to the sky. So it's kind of like we're doing like rock on, like that. Thumb, 2, 3. And then on the right hand, 1, 2, 3. Notice I didn't mention anything about the pinky. Pinky's going to stay up. Very polite flute players we are. Thumb 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is D. Now the next note in this piece in measure 3 is an E flat. The only thing we have to do is put down the pinky. So just practice going back and forth between D and E flat. Great, we almost have the entire piece. Now that last note that we just figured out in the music, right here, is an F. So F, the fingering is, will the fingering come up? Look at that. So thumb, and I cover this thumb hole, so if you could do that too, that'd be awesome. Thumb, 1, 2, 3, 1, pinky. Again, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 1, pinky. So we're going to say the note names and finger it as we go along. So I think, oh, I have to make me smaller. Okay, there we go. All right, so from the beginning, saying the note names and fingering it. Say the note names and finger it. Go. D, rest, 2, ready, go. E flat, rest, 2, ready, go. F, rest, 2, ready, go. E flat, rest, 2, ready, go. D. Now, did you notice what I did during the rests? I identified the next note that was going to happen, and I thought about the finger switch that I needed to make in order for that to happen. So like we said before, going the D to E flat, super easy, just put down the pinky. Going from E flat to D, super easy, just lift the pinky. The only real challenge here is going from E flat to F, and then from F back to E flat, but fortunately you have those 4 beats to make it happen. All right, so we are going to play this together now. Here we go. Have your D ready? And I'll make me a little bigger so hopefully you can see the whole flute. Ah, close. 1, 2, beginning, go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, ready. 1, 2, ready. So your 2 big goals are playing the entirety of the whole note, 4 full beats of sound, and making sure that you start the next note right on time, utilizing those 4 beats of rest to switch your fingers. And you'll have piece number 5 down.